Hey everybody, thanks for coming back. We're going to talk Crosmans in this video. Before I get into this, I've got a few examples I can show you. I'm continuing on with my air gun playlist with this video. I've got Allie out here supervising today, my shop mascot. She's there gonna make sure I do a good job on this video. Try to. Anyway, yeah, I've got two other air gun videos. If you haven't seen those, appreciate it. You go over there and check those out. I've got my first BB gun, and then I've got a Winchester 1894. And so continuing on, yeah, I want to talk about Crosman 150s and 157s. I've got a few examples here in front of me. I can show you one that's almost stock, another one somewhat modified, another one drastically modified, and I'll show you and tell you about the modifications that I made to them. This one here is from my childhood. It had the plastic grips. I'm going to put a picture of some Crosman various grips that I have right here. Yeah, so all those grips. If you're watching this video, I'll probably put Crosman 150 in the title somewhere. You may be a big Crosman 150 fan, and you may have some walnut grips that I made years ago. I sold dozens and dozens of them on eBay, walnut grips, and some of the leftovers are there in that picture I just showed you. And you know, they were all walnut, all the grips that I made. I'm pretty sure that was the only type of wood I was using back then for gun grips, was walnut for those grips. I also made, well, that'll be a future video. I'll talk about all that kind of stuff. But anyway, my dad made these grips actually years ago. They had the plastic ones that are in the picture that they come with. This one originally was in a metal case that was actually your target, your pellet trap, and had a little tin of pellets and a little, I believe it was a 5-pack of Powerlets, which was the name that Crosman used for CO2 cylinders. They call them CO2 Powerlets. And those old Powerlets, they call them bottle cap Powerlets because the tips of them kind of look like a bottle cap, a Krypton bottle cap, and those were terrible. They leaked like crazy, and it really put a hurting on the CO2 market for a couple of decades. I just banged my knee. Anyway, yeah, then they started welding the caps on those CO2 cylinders. Once they started doing that, they kind of fixed that leak problem that they had. But they first started making these 150s in 1954, and they had a 13-year run. Say this one you can see is the Crosman 150 Pel gun, it says on there, and it's a CO2. Unlike the Han Super BB repeater, if you saw that video, that one has basically that one has the same cap this one does, with a O-ring seal, which this one needs to be replaced. I just noticed it's been sitting up for a while. I haven't shot this one in quite a while, but it doesn't have a plunger. Plunger's not needed, but it's basically does the same thing because the cartridge slips in here, and then when you fire it the first one or two times there, it pierces that cartridge, and it charges this whole tube right here. This one I've never been into. I'm not sure if my dad resealed it or not. At some point I would say he did. Like I said, he made these walnut grips, and they're ambidextrous, and it has finger grooves both sides. Push button safety. There's a little, if you take one of these apart, the frame right here comes off of the gas tube, and then the barrel comes off of the gas tube. Take it apart. This rear sight bolt goes all the way down, and it holds this whole spring assembly, hammer assembly right here together. Anyway, I'm not going to go in great detail on how to break one down, but if you do take one off, the first thing taking this frame off is a screw right here, and then this screw right here. Just be aware that right here where the safety is, there's a very small spring and a detent ball. That's what you can kind of hear, if you can hear that noise. That's the spring and detent ball, and it's pretty easy for that spring to fly out and to lose that little detent ball. I've got a whole case of detent balls actually to replace ones. I think I bought that just because I lost one time years ago, so I got a whole kit of detent balls. This has the factory kind of like a painted finish, a little scratched up here, you can see on the receiver and everything. And put that back on. Yeah, I don't shoot this one. I have a couple others here I'll show you that are shooters. The first 2 years, from 54 to 56, they had a two-piece barrel and breech here. So if you have one of those earlier models, this would be, rather than one piece, this would be two pieces, separate pieces. And those are pretty rare. I don't have one. I never had one, I don't believe. All mine are from 1956 to 1967 in that time era. They do have serial numbers on them, but I don't think the serial numbers, I don't think you can use those to help identify the age of it. It's basically just whether it's a two-piece barrel and breech or a one-piece barrel and breech. The grips were all the same. Crosman's still using the same angle on their grips to this day, I believe. They got it right the first time. Serial number, there's a 6-digit serial number, and I'm pretty sure it's on. It's not just on the slide. I think it's somewhere else too, on the bolt. But this one here actually has a 5-digit. All the other ones I've seen have a 6-digit number, but on this one here, it's actually a 5-digit number. So this might be one of the earlier ones that one of the first ones that had the one-piece barrel and breech assembly on them. Another thing that's neat on these Crosman 150s and 157s is the majority of them, not all of them manufactured, but the majority of them actually have two power settings. So you can pull the bolt back once and it's low power, and then if you hear the 2 clicks, that's high power. So you put a CO2 cylinder in there, you can actually extend its use by, you'll get more shots out of it if you just use the low power setting. It's not using quite as much CO2 gas on the low power. So that's a neat feature too that I like about these. This one here, many hours plinking with it in the factory metal case that it came in, and one time when I was a small child, shooting into that, and then yeah, and then we killed a lot of snakes with this. A lot of snakes got dispatched with this baby right here. Moving along, let me show you this one. This isn't mine. This is my wife's gun. I actually made this for her. If you couldn't tell, she loves pink, so I figured to get her interested in pellet pistols, if I made one and painted it pink, that she would like it. And she's actually a really good shot. She's really patient, and she picks up things quick, and she's just fantastic with one of these. But this is identical. The only difference to this one is from the others, there again, walnut grips that I made, I love that piece of walnut. I wish this side matched it, but it doesn't. I might have to make a new grip that closer matches that grain pattern. But anyway, this is a 157. The 150 is a 22 caliber, and it's loaded. Let me get you in. Allie, I think I'm going to have to move you back over here to your spot, get you out of the way so I'm not bumping into you. All right. So yeah, I didn't explain that, but anyway, this is how you load it. Just single shot. Drop the pellet right in here. You slide it, rotate it, and that locks it in. Ready to fire. So yeah, the 157 model is 177 caliber, whereas the 150s were 22 caliber. And everything else on this one is identical. It has the same rear sights. Now, some of these rear sights, not too many of them, but I've seen them before where there's a little threaded bolt right here, and it has a little metal piece that slides up and down for elevation adjustment. None of these examples that I have here now have that. You could always, you could find one if you wanted that type of adjustable sight, or taking one apart one time, I found a little piece of cardboard underneath that somebody put under there for a shim to raise it up. So, you know, you could always do that too. You know, shim it with a little piece of shim brass stock or cardboard or paper, or, you know, different thicknesses of paper or whatever. The front sights are, you know, everything's metal. There is no plastic on this baby, not like these new Crosmans that are basically all plastic now. I mean, it started off plastic stocks and forearms and things like that, and then it got to where the receivers are plastic now, unfortunately. If they still made guns like this, no telling what this gun would cost for somebody to buy if Crosman still made an all steel. I mean, this thing here is, you know, what, 70 something years old, you know, and it's still, you can still get parts for it. There's a lot of guys out there that are making custom valve assemblies for these, where they're higher power and, you know, they last longer. And I pulled out my box of airgun parts here, and I was trying to find some business cards, names of companies where I ordered parts from in the past. Actually, here's one, Mac 1 in Signal Hill, California. There's that. I'm not sure if he's still in business. This was probably years ago that, you know, I ordered from him. Here's another guy, and I just looked him up, and I don't think anybody's heard from him since 2012. He quit updating his website in 2012, so I don't think he's still in the business, but I believe he's the one I got. Here's these are the old parts that I just put in the bag, and his prices were really reasonable. I got a 150 seal kit here. It's $28, and these are the old parts that I took out for that one. And then here's some more. I got, you know, I think I had a couple of 150 parts guns, so I just kept some of the parts off of that, off of one of those. Here's some 150 seals that have been sitting around a while. I assume they're still good. Here's some Crosman 1377 parts that I have. I have a 1377 I'll do a video on here in the future that I modified. I put an upgraded breech assembly on that one, and I think I made a custom bolt for it. So yeah, check that video out coming up. Yeah, subscribe, hit notifications if you're into air guns. I plan on a number more of these videos, but yeah, you can look around online. There's quite a few fellas out there doing these air gun parts. You can get these parts from. Oh, and if you saw my Daisy 1894 video, I thought I threw away the plastic cocking lever. I found it in this box with these other air gun parts. But yeah, that's the go back and check out that video if you haven't seen it. But yeah, that's the original plastic cocking lever, and I replaced, I made a new one out of aluminum to replace this plastic one that I just knew was going to break, you know, at some point in its life. On a spring action air gun, this is the part that gets used the most and takes the most abuse and wear and tear, and they made it out of this plastic. So anyway, I resealed this one right after I got it. Years ago, I found this somewhere and resealed it with, you know, a kit that I ordered from somebody. You know, somebody that I found online, or found parts on eBay or something like that. Ordered the new valve assemblies, and I, you know, because I have a number of these, I sometimes buy 2 at a time because I know I'm going to need them in the future, you know, and they don't last forever. That's the thing, main thing that wears out. But these are rifled steel barrels and very accurate, you know, for a short 6-inch barreled pistol. I guess what they are, 6 inches. Yeah, for a short 6-inch barreled pistol, these are impressively accurate guns. I just love them. Now, in addition to the blued model, Crosman also made a chrome-plated model 150, and they called that one the Medalist. And I think I found a couple examples of the Medalist, but you know, the prices were astronomical to what they wanted for them, just because, you know, they're chrome plated and shiny, and you know, you're not prone to rust like the blued steel ones, you know. So what I did, I picked me up another Crosman 150, this one here, years ago, and I nickel plated it. This is electroless nickel plating I used to do years ago, and I just cleaned it up, polished it, got all the rust. It still has some pits in it, you can kind of see. I got some of the pits and everything, but it kind of looks like a Medalist in a way, other than the Medalist had a different style grip, I believe. But this is not a Medalist. This was a rusty version of this that I cleaned up and nickel plated, and then I just stripped the paint off the frame and buffed it out, and I have not touched it since I did it all those years ago. When I did this, it's been over 15 years since I redid this gun, and I haven't touched the frame with polish or anything. It's still in really nice shape. I buffed it out, stripped the paint off, cleaned up the casting. Let's see if you can see them. I cleaned that one up. Oh, here's the original one. Yeah, this is what it looks like out of the factory, and then this is what it looks like after you clean it up and polish it. This one, before I painted it, I sanded the seams out of that one too. But these are ebony grips I made on this one, and they're again ambidextrous, left or right hand, you know, with the finger grooves. I put a trigger stop on this one, an adjustable trigger stop, which is a brass nut and a Allen set screw, and you'll see when I cock it, the trigger pops up, and that just prevents over travel, makes it a little bit more accurate. I did a little work on the sear too, but it's been so long ago I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure just very minimal work on the sear. But I got the trigger pull. I used to have a trigger pull gauge, but I don't think I have it anymore. But I got it where it's fairly light. I mean, quite a bit lighter than it was out of the factory. You know, but still safe. You know. What else did I do? Oh, I've got fiber optic sights I put on it too. That's the most recent mod I did to it. I didn't do all this at the same time. I actually just did this maybe a couple of years ago. I ordered this stuff. This is the 150 too, I should say, the 22 caliber. Let me show you that. Right there, Crosman 150, 22 caliber. I use this stuff here. Nano optics, the future of fiber. And this company here has all the different colors you can get of this stuff, but it's basically like fishing line. And what I did, I'll try and see if you can pick this up on camera. So here's the sights, the regular sights. If I get it to where it's not on the light there, that's your sight picture on a stock Crosman 150 or 157 in this case. And here is what I did to this one here with those fiber optics, those little fiber things. I didn't get the holes exactly right. It's a hair off right there, but it really doesn't affect the performance of it. It just really helps you out sighting this in, especially if your eyesight isn't the greatest like mine. But what I did on the front sight, you see, I just, you know, here it is before and here it is after. I just filed out a section here, and that way you have more of that exposed, that fiber exposed, so that it catches the light and it just makes it glow. You can see that. I mean, it just, they look like they're glowing. And this one here, I just made them, you know, that was the hardest part, was drilling the holes. You just make them a little bit long so that they stick out, and then you heat them up, and it melts the ends so that they don't fall out. And but yeah, there it is. Really love that improvement on it. But yeah, drilling the holes, that was the hardest part. There's such a small, I forget what size that was, but I had to use a really small bit to drill it and just go really slow, you know, so that it goes nice and straight through it. So that took a little bit of time to do that, but definitely worth the effort. I love it because, you know, quick target acquisition now with those sights. Yeah, love it. But yeah, there again, this one has the 2 power settings. You know, there's 2. You know, so 1 click, low power. 2 clicks, full power. There's the breech. This one's been apart. I don't know. I think I've resealed this one at least 2 times, if not 3, over the years since I put it together. They can really just go bad setting. It's probably been at least 2 years since I've shot these, so hopefully the seals are still good in them. But there again, like I said in my other video on CO2, you should always put a drop of oil on the end of that CO2 powerlet. In case you haven't seen that video, there again, I appreciate you going back and check that out. Maybe watch that one after this one. But yeah, here on this is a spent cartridge here because it's got the hole in it. But yeah, the original ones, they looked like a bottle cap, you know, like crimped. On it, and they were notorious for leaking. These are older ones too, but I haven't had any of these bad out of the box. But yeah, when you put a new one of these in there, just put a little drop of Pel gun oil, Marvel's Mystery Oil, which I can't prove it, but I believe that's nothing more than automatic transmission fluid. I mean, it's very similar. I believe Marvel's Mystery Oil is very similar to automatic transmission fluid, which kind of makes sense because Marvel's Mystery Oil claims to help soften up rubber seals and that type of thing, and do a lot of the things that automatic transmission fluid does in an automatic transmission. So it kind of makes sense that they might be the same. They do definitely look similar too, in color, you know, and viscosity and that type of thing. So yeah, just put a drop of chamber oil, or if you have other air guns that use cylinder oil and chamber oil, just use the chamber oil, or get you some Crosman pelgun oil, or Marvel's mystery oil, or automatic transmission fluid. Just put a little drop there before you stick it in there, and that'll really help make your valves last longer in your CO2 guns. So, not sure how long this video ran, maybe a little bit longer than some of the others. I believe I covered everything I wanted to cover on these Crosmans. Give you a little bit, another look on this side. I don't think I showed you that side, but yeah, it just says Crosman Arms, Fairport, New York, USA. Super nice quality guns right here. Super nice quality guns that they made right here. I mean, I say it a lot, but I love it. I mean, I wouldn't have this stuff if I didn't love this stuff, you know. And I don't have room for too much, so I don't have too much anymore because I don't have that much room for it. So you have to keep stuff that gives you joy, you know, and get rid of the stuff that doesn't give you joy. If it doesn't give you joy, you might hang on to it, especially if you don't have room to store it, you know, such as my case. So anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Not sure what's coming up next, but maybe some more air guns. We'll see. But I hope to see you then in the next one. This is Dave. See ya.